Hey, hey, we're live. We're live. Good evening. Good evening. It's 7:09. I know we're a few minutes late, but welcome as always to the Painfully Honest Tech podcast. I'm going to play our intro music and then we will begin the discussion.
All right. Yes, science!
Well, welcome back again for another episode of the Painfully Honest Tech podcast. Oh boy, here we are again. We've got so much fun stuff to discuss about. I think I might have just soiled myself in the pants or something. I'm feeling my oats this evening. I'm feeling my oats. I don't know what that means. I don't have any oats, but I'm feeling them.
Okay, boomer. I don't even know what that means.
It means that I'm somebody who was born in the baby boom generation, which is not the case.
No, you're
Not at all the case.
You're after that, I think.
Yeah, my mom was born as a boomer. Okay,
Yeah.
boomer.
My folks are boomers.
Yes, yeah. So we're here. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff, but first we got to talk about welcoming Zach back after a week of being gone.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like longer than a week. It was painful.
Thanks. It was needed, and it was interesting to kind of be on the sidelines and just watch things happen last week as three phones were introduced by Samsung and people either lost their minds or lost their minds in a good way. And then it was interesting to see the typical video titles come out, and it was interesting to see the typical defensive and justifications and whatever people have to do to make themselves feel good about purchases, which in the end doesn't really matter.
A lot of triggered Android fanboys out there.
Yeah, and then I saw some
nights.
And then I saw some interesting things today about what foldables are today, and I think blood started coming out of my ear. So
oh man, I'm so happy that I found something that will trigger people that's not Apple related. I mean, that's so great. Anyway, that's one thing that we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the topic of that discussion on Twitter today. It was a boisterous discussion, I would say, and it had everything to do with what constitutes a foldable.
Indeed.
A foldable. So we're going to talk about that, and then I say we talk about Zach's feelings and so sort of look back on the week that was Unpacked Week and see how we feel about it.
Yes, and also,
okay,
we need to talk about Instagram CEO and his comments about why there's no iPad app on Instagram. We need to discuss that definitely.
Okay, I haven't seen that, so you're gonna have to fill me in. You're gonna have to give me something to look at.
I can do.
But yeah, I saw you tweeting about it today, but I didn't see the info. So yeah, the iPad app on as it is on iPad, the iPad app on Instagram it's nothing.
It's not even.
It won't even go into landscape mode.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Awful. It's awful. So before we get into all that, let's talk just a little bit about our sponsor, Audible. Now I tried to get the moody lighting going a little bit more today, just to be a little bit more dramatic, and hopefully it's working. Now, we're sponsored by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/painfullyhonesttech, and you can get 1 free audiobook, 2 free Audible originals, which are actually really cool. Like some of them are like podcasts, some of them are shorter stories. I listened to one about a murder in Ireland that was really good. And I'm a big fan of Audible. I say this every week, but I am. And so if you think you want to check out Audible, then you should go to audibletrial.com/painfullyhonesttech and check it out with that code so that we get paid, or somebody gets paid. I haven't been paid by them yet, so you guys better get going. Anyway, so we got that out of the way. let's go around the horn. Viper, how you doing today?
I am doing great. Thank you for asking. This should be a lively podcast.
And Zach, you?
I'm okay. I don't know. Yeah. Hi.
We're gonna have to gradually ease Zach into this tonight. That's what we're gonna have to do.
I did a pregame show just like mostly because I couldn't remember how my equipment worked. And I'm like, why am I not getting any audio? Oh, I gotta turn on the phantom power. Okay. And then yeah. It's funny. You don't do this for like 2 weeks and it's like you forget everything.
Yeah, I know. It's
weird.
all the time.
You know what the worst part was? I was asked for my master password from LastPass.
Oh boy.
I couldn't remember it. You have to remember one password. I couldn't remember it. So
here's the sad thing. Like I'm using Dashlane because I got a free Dashlane year as part of a sponsorship thing. And I went the route of I actually use the password that I'm using all the time for everything else for Dashlane, which is not exactly how that's supposed to work. But right now I haven't been able to get Dashlane to do the thing that it's supposed to do. I haven't been able to do, like, it doesn't fill in the passwords all the time.
So I have an affiliate link somewhere, but I've used and I pay for LastPass for the last 18 months now, almost 2 years, and I've only ever had a couple of hiccups. And I use it on Android and iOS with Chrome. I have not tried other browsers, and I absolutely love it. Love it.
I used LastPass a while back until I forgot my master password. Couldn't get in. So
I wrote on a little sticky and I put it in my safe. So yeah, and I'm like, oh, that's that. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway,
we should try to get them a sponsor.
We should. So one of them. I'll try and make it happen.
I heard Dashlane's good though. I've heard good things about Dashlane and good things about LastPass.
I just I've been relying on Google for some things and then iOS for some things, and so all of the things aren't in the same place. So if I go to one and it's not there, then I have to. I don't know. It's just really
so.
Hey, for the love of tech, that's not nice. That's not
what is old anyway. Yeah. So one thing you brought up, Jason, was
it's just a year.
One thing, Jason, you brought up here before we started is that you wanted to get some additional thoughts, I guess, on the Galaxy S20 announcements last week. Okay, so I actually slept through I slept through half of the presentation, right? I actually tuned in right when they were kind of like ending the last 15 minutes. Yeah. And that's when they flashed the pricing up on the screens there.
Yeah.
So and I thought it was really I thought it was really interesting how Samsung, not only did they put up the pricing for the new S20, S20 Plus, and the Ultra, they also put up the pricing for the S10e, S10, and okay, so last year it's kind of like how Apple does, right? Like here's our lineup, right? And then everybody started losing their collective minds when 24 hours before John Prosser basically said here's the pricing, right? And it's kind of it's interesting because there's plenty of options out there, and you got a lot of defenders and you got a lot of opponents and this and that. But here's the thing: I did this out of sheer boredom and just so I wouldn't blow my brains out. I went back and I looked at the last 3 years of pricing. So the Galaxy S10, 9, and the 8. I looked at their pricing, okay, and I looked at what the percentage increase was year over year, and it was between 15 and 18% if you round it.
All right.
Okay. So if you look at the pricing for the new Galaxy 20s, going from the 10s to 20s, it's around 16 to 17% increase over last year. In other words, it's in line with their structure. The only exception is the Ultra. And for you fools out there, sorry, I have no other words. I have other words I can call you. But I'm going to call you guys fools. For you fools out there that think you can get an Ultra and all of a sudden become a great photographer, no. No. Okay. You're only as good as the tools in your hand, or
the tool does not a master make.
Exactly. See, I'm not good. I'm not good with the words. So anyway, when you look at, for example, going from the S10e to the S20, and the S20, S10, S10 Plus to the S20 Plus, I guess it is. Yeah, there's about a 17% increase, which is in line with what they've done every year, which is between 15 and 18%.
Right.
So why is everybody losing their minds?
Well, I mean, part of it is, I mean, we've been having this conversation since 2013 about the $1,000 phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'd have to look back to be sure, but Apple has taken over the years a lot of flack for being the first to $1,000,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think since the introduction of the iPhone 10 at $999, their pricing, even when and then they released the Plus, which then became the Max, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their pricing has stayed the same. It's always been $999 and $1099 to start.
Mm-hmm.
So Samsung has increased, as you say, about 45% in prices since Apple made the iPhone 10.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty significant price increase.
It is. But like I said, if you look at year over year, they're in line with their current strategy. And, if you're upset with it, there's a way to get around that, which is don't buy the device, vote with your wallet. There are other options out there, right? There's other options. There's actually better options out there. I'm completely turned off by the pricing, not from the fact that, well, in some aspects, they've priced me out because I can't justify reviewing devices of that price when there's clearly better devices, better built devices that offer better options that are coming down the line that I think they're coming down the line this year.
Right.
So, that's not to say that I don't like my Note. I absolutely love my Note 10.
Right.
But if you're not happy with it, people, there's other options. I mean, it's that simple.
So Marcus wants to know if Viper has realized that the podcast has begun. And yes, Viper has realized that the podcast begins, but Zach has not been here for 2 weeks, so I'm going to let Zach say his piece before I jump in. That's all. No worry, I'm here. I'm not going nowhere. I'm right here.
You guys had a Canadian on last week.
We did.
Yeah, we did. Well, we needed a pinch hitting Canadian.
I'm honored that Renee Ritchie was the replacement Canadian for me. That's
yeah. I mean, we had to trade down, but
that's my feeling on the whole thing. It's exactly in line with what they've had every year. Does it make it right? No. The masses, the early adopters, and the spec freaks. I don't the spec nerds, whatever you want. The specs, whatever. You got your Ultra, and if you don't like it, there's other options, and there are better options coming down the line. I cannot wait for Jonathan Morrison or somebody to take, these phones and take the photo and the side by sides. And even though you have Twitter compression, this and that, and for people to get the photos wrong this year, or even the displays, he did like it with the Poco phone. So it should be a very interesting year. Like I said, you can vote with your wallet, and that's it, right? So
yeah, I'm planning so I'm actually going to leave the house at the end of this week.
No.
Yeah, I am. I got a live music show to perform, and I'm also going to make it an opportunity where I take 3 phones, and I make them so they're not like I try not to let people know like here's the phones, but the video is going to be like, okay, so here's 1080. Here are these phones. Tell me if you can tell a difference in sort of clarity of the phones and what that difference is, right?
Yep.
And because I've got the iPhone 11, I've got this LG G8, I've got the V50. So the V50 is 1440, and the G8 is 1080p or a little bit above, and the iPhone is like 8 something. So I want to see, because I'm not really I'm not really a believer that all of this is really a thing, that it's really a noticeable difference between 1080 or 800 and 1440 or anything like that.
Yeah, we've talked about this before on the podcast. Actually, I think Viper actually did a video on this where the high range devices have begun to plateau. And now people should really look at devices in a way that like functionality, like normal people do. Like, can I get my email on this? Yes. Can I text my grandmother on this? Yes. Can I, you know what I mean? Right. And that's
Yeah.
Um,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, just on a side thing, that's kind of the direction I'm gonna be taking some of my content in the future here, pretty quick in terms of what I review and do and everything in terms of adding to quality of life,
Right.
both physically and mentally. So, because I'm just done with the whole spec thing, this size screen, this folds in half, this is glass, this isn't. By the way, good job, Zach, at Jerry rig everything.
Oh my Lord.
Anybody that thought that was actually glass, you're an idiot. Woo! I'm sorry. If you ever thought that was real glass,
He was brutal. He was so brutal. It was beautiful.
It was so beautiful. I was just like,
beautiful.
I'm looking at their spec thing on Samsung.com and I'm going, there's no, that's not glass. That's not glass.
Yeah. My whole thing with what Samsung's doing this year is they're at best sort of inflating expectations for a lot of the stuff that they're putting out this year so far.
Is that the political response? Or see, in the real world, we call that lying.
Yeah, it was political. It was political in nature. It is lying. They are lying about a lot of stuff. And unfortunately, people are going to defend them. People are going to believe what they're saying. People are going to go to their graves believing that they somehow folded glass. The only time glass folds is when it's superheated and then shaped into its final form of, like a cup or something. That's the only time glass folds. A polymer that might have some glass in it could possibly fold. But
I knew
itself,
when people were saying, it feels like glass, when I saw some of the reviews and people on the floor there and anything like that, I was like, okay, there's got to be elements of glass in there to make it feel like that, or maybe some sort of coating. And Zach did show that today on Jerry everything when he was kind of picking away on it. Did you watch that today? Where he's doing he did a physical teardown. Yeah. So there's glass elements in there, and if that qualifies as glass, then
come on, you know how it goes, Zach.
Then my Hyundai qualifies as a Ferrari because it has 4 wheels.
These companies will take any little shortcut they can get to market something in a certain way. You know how they work.
Yeah, it's like a fiberglass, like Craftman Greg said here in the chat, man. There was glass in there, but it's weird glass. Yeah, it's like a fiberglass. You guys, you know what it feels like when you get fiberglass in your fingers, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah,
like it's impossible to get out of there, right? That's what that was. That's what it looked like, right? So anyway, I mean, it's cool, but no, it's not glass, man.
I mean, I'm disappointed. I mean, it looked like the Galaxy Fold came out and they had solved the quality control issues that were
It seems like it,
devices. But I've seen several posts and articles about Galaxy Z Flips not being not like one that just sort of cracked when the guy opened it the first time.
I saw that picture. When I first saw that, I'm like, okay, there's got to be elements of glass in there, but it's not glass.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's probably there's a certain range in which you say it's glass, but it's not all glass.
Yeah. So anyway, we're kind of all over the place right now with the topics. Where do you guys want to start tonight?
Oh, no. We got to go to the meat and potatoes of the podcast. We got to figure out what is a foldable and what is not a foldable.
Oh,
So a little backstory here for those who weren't following the Twitter thread that was going on today. I mean, today I was thinking of video titles. I didn't get a video out yesterday because I was doing some stuff. And so today was really the beginning of my video week. So I was thinking of video titles, and one of them was, can the Galaxy, I got Galaxy on the brain. Can the LG G8X compete with other foldables? And I was just freaking gobsmacked because people came from everywhere and they were like,
I think you knew it. I think you knew what you were doing. Can you just hold on, because I asked you this before we went online here. Can you please read for us the full name of the device you were talking about? And first of all, for the people that are watching, by the way, if you're listening to this, you can watch us live and be part of the podcast every Tuesday at 8:00 Eastern.
Yes.
Okay. But Jason is now. Do you have the phone? Do you have the device there?
I do.
Can you show the device? Just give us a demonstration of what the. Okay. Can you close the device? I'm not gonna say fold because it's. All right. Close it.
So here it is, and then you close it.
Okay. Now, what is the name of that device? The full name, Jason.
The Galaxy is the. I've got Galaxy on the brain.
What's the full name?
Okay. The full name is the LG G8X ThinQ or Think dual screen.
Okay, Conversation's over. Next topic.
But see, that's the thing. Like, this is where I had a big issue, because marketing people came up with the idea of calling a foldable screen a foldable, and that is the definition of a foldable now. And so people have bought into Samsung and their marketing team and everything else, and now they're going around being high and mighty about it. When, I mean, is it a foldable phone? Yeah, it's a fold.
Okay, let me clear this up real quick. I had to reach out to Erica Griffin about this, trying to get her opinion. She actually replied, she's in the camp that the GAX is a folding device, but it is technically not a foldable. So the way that we need to think about this is the Galaxy Z Flip and the Galaxy Fold, those have folding displays. The GAX does not have a folding display, but it is a folding device because it does fold.
So why can't we call the ones with the folding display a folding display foldable?
I don't make the rules. I don't know.
Hey, I'm just saying. I mean, it's pretty semantic, and people got pretty upset about it. And I don't know why it's such a big deal. I mean, once it was going, I was kind of having fun with it.
No way.
Yeah. I mean, but it is marketing, as Genosis said. As I said before, the marketers like seeded that term into all of the speak that they were doing as the Galaxy Fold was coming out. So everybody's just decided that the marketing term that Samsung, why do I keep saying Galaxy? That Samsung purposefully seeded in the stuff that they were doing, that now is defined as a foldable. Everything else that folds is not a foldable. To me, that's just silly. That's
like me saying that my Santa Fe is a Ferrari because it has four wheels like a Ferrari.
No, it doesn't. It's not like that at all.
I know, it's ridiculous, right?
But it's not. But that's not the same thing. No one would mistake the definable feature of a foldable is folding, right? A foldable screen is not necessary to have a folding device. It's one way to do it, and it's the current way that everybody's jizzing over. But it's that is a word that only means to be able to fold. And then, like, John Prosser was talking about folding paper and all this other stuff, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, it's, to me...
But your device doesn't fold, though, Jason. It closes. It closes like a book.
But you could also say that a folding device closes. It's the terminology is second to... It just is tertiary. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, I think...
It doesn't matter. I mean, as you said before, people want to get into the specs and they want to use all the right terminology so they can seem like fancy tech people.
I agree. This doesn't matter in the end.
It doesn't matter. I mean, to me, it's not the same. I'm in no way implying it's the same as a device that has a foldable screen, but it still folds. So I don't see what it is. What really pisses me off about it is it's people like, the people that were more vocal in that conversation. I won't name names. It's like they won't let this phone into the cool phone party, because it doesn't have a folding screen.
Who said that?
That was the overall sort of tone of a lot of people's responses in this Twitter thread. There was a lot of like nose in the air stuff going on. There was a lot of people being pretty darn elitist about this stuff for reasons that I can't even understand. I honestly, I wanted to see what people would say about whether or not this could compete with the foldable phones that have folding screens that we have out there. Not because I didn't think it was a foldable, but because it's half the price.
When you say define compete, what do you mean by compete?
Like, can it be a viable option in a market of foldable devices? Will people see it as an option that they could choose? Or will we get this like cork sniffing bullshit that comes out all the time about, oh well, it doesn't do this, so it can't be that.
Okay, so my first question for you, Jason, is how did you obtain that GAX?
I bought it on Amazon.
Is that a phone or a device that you can get in a carrier store here in the U.S.?
Not right now, but it's been launched on Amazon and on the LG site.
Will it ever be available in a carrier store?
I think it's available here in Canada through
I have no idea. I know it's available in carrier stores elsewhere around the world.
Okay.
But I have no idea what the U.S. is doing in terms of carrying LG phones.
I can pretty much tell you as far as LG in the U.S., they're pretty non-existent as far as carrier stores are concerned. Carrier stores don't carry LG devices that much at all. I mean, I know sometimes they carry the G devices and maybe the V50. I know Verizon has the V50 10Q right now, but other than that, not too much going on with LG and the carrier. So if in terms of if that phone can compete with the Galaxy Fold and Z Flip and the rest of the foldable, it might be limited just by what LG decides to do here in the U.S. as far as making it carrier available and things like that. So even though it might be a great alternative to a Galaxy Fold or a Z Flip, and it might have a price that's maybe half the price of those devices, if it's not available for the mass public here in the U.S., then how much can it compete really?
Well, it's available. I mean, that's one of the things that I'm talking about in the videos that I've made over the past few weeks is the fact that there are options that don't require you at this point. Like the pool has gotten deeper, right? The pool of good phones that can do all the stuff that you want and have good specs and they're fast and all that kind of stuff. That pool has deepened. So at the very top, floating on the top, you have your $1,400 Galaxy S20 Ultra.
Mm-hmm.
But a much deeper pool of devices is available that will do all of the functionality of that device other than the special things that Samsung put in. So you're paying, if this is $699, you're basically paying $700 for the Galaxy S Ultra for the things that phone has that this one doesn't. So that to me is a pretty wide gap of phones that are available that people should consider. So I got this on Amazon. Now, of course, I happen to talk on Amazon all the time. And I talk about phones. So this is a thing that I found and I started talking about. But it was an easy decision for me to say, that's a $700 phone with a foldable aspect to it. So I'm going to try it out and see what it's like.
If you want to bring up my screen here for the people that are watching us on YouTube, this is the Bell Mobility. Bell is one of the top 3 carriers up here. So there's Bell, Telus, and Rogers.
Right.
And if you narrow down devices, the LG G8X Thin Q dual screen, such a terrible name. Must get their names from the people at Sony.
Yeah.
It's right there. Look at the full out. This is Canadian dollars, obviously $12.99, which is probably close to 1,000 American once you do the conversion. 0 down. Obviously, you've signed a 24-month contract and this and that. So, LG's always done really good up here in Canada, even though they're not doing the best right now in the United States. But I mean, for example, like I said, when you go back to devices and you click on LG, it's the first thing that shows up. And I know right now, talking to some of my friends that are still in the game right now. So, for example, this is their. So if you click on devices right now, you got Samsung's all first, then iPhones. And then, oh, look at that. So Google paid to get themselves up the top there. Then Huawei. Yeah, because we have Huawei up here. But then you have to click more for more devices. But then LG's in here. But I know that, for example, LG offers a lot of bonus dollars and this and that for employees to push them. So, but it's interesting that this dual screen is the first one that they show.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but the Note 10 Plus was sitting right next to this phone in that list.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense because of how old it is. Yeah.
Your guys' list is much deeper than ours because you have phones available to you that we don't typically have.
Yeah, we don't have as many restrictions, or like it seems like we have a broader amount of manufacturers up here compared to what you guys have in the United States, where at one time it used to be kind of like 1-to-1.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you guys don't have this bullshit idea of exceptionalism.
Yeah, that's a whole different conversation.
You know, America has this whole exceptionalism thing that
Yeah.
makes them feel like, oh, well, we can't.
So to summarize, I think that your device, the LG G8X ThinQ dual screen, is a folding device, but I personally don't think it's a quote unquote foldable in terms of how that word is being
Quote
used
unquote,
nowadays.
the quote unquote. I understand what you're saying, and
Yeah.
I understand the semantic difference that you're making.
Yeah.
But the thing to me is like we only call those things foldables
Mm-hmm.
because Samsung marketing team started using that term.
Yeah.
So all of the people who are like getting all up in arms and like, you know, just going on and on about it, like basically they've been marketed to and they got hooked.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and now they're doing exactly what LG wants to, or well, what Samsung wants to do, as well as LG and anybody else, is to talk about this stuff.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like show business, right? Any press is good press, right?
Yeah,
I mean, the people at Samsung, they know they're like, you know, they're putting this thing together. You know that there was a guy there in the engineering team going, you know, what if Jerry Reed gets all this? Well, who cares? Because look how many views he's going to get. And right, the average person is not going to tear down their device and pour sand in it like he does. Like that's what his channel does, right?
I mean,
it's really interesting to see the improvements and changes that Samsung has made from the Galaxy Fold to now to the Z Flip.
right.
See if that
Okay.
triggers any of the Americans.
So Podcasted says, okay, we called foldable phones back in the early 2000s flip phones. Why not label the device you have as a flip phone? Well, because to me, a flip phone was what the Motorola Razr is. You could flip it open, right? You'd put your thumb between in the crack and you flip it open, and that's where a flip phone came from.
Yeah.
So it just became a name that caught on that people used to describe that form factor of phone and its functionality. So this is I can't put my thumb in this and like, you know, there's just no way to I can't.
It's pretty heavy too. I've used that device.
It is heavy.
Yeah.
It is heavy, but I mean, you could slice it any way you want, but to me, I'm kind of in the camp of I would prefer a heavier device with like a lot of really solid protection on it versus an incredibly fragile device.
Can you pop the individual screens out of there?
Yeah.
Like have two screens? Like have two phones?
No. So,
but you can't pop them out though, right?
Like, so here's the phone.
Okay.
And then it has,
but the other screen is permanently in there.
Yeah, it goes in USB-C like this, and then you pop it into the thing, and then it's connected. So, yeah.
So Viper, what's your take on this?
Like I said earlier, the the LG G8X is a folding device, but in terms of foldables, it is not a foldable as we are currently talking about it in 2020 because it does not have a folding display. But the device itself does fold, open and close theoretically, so it can be labeled as a folding device, even if you don't want to call it a foldable.
Yeah, and that's the thing that like, as maybe it's just the fact that I really I care about words, and like it's just a choice, you know, like somebody chose to call the Galaxy Fold a foldable, and so that has now become the terminology for people to cork sniff over and say, well, yours is not a foldable or that is not a foldable, and I just don't see the point in it.
Does the Samsung website actually use the word foldable, or do they just use the word fold?
I don't know.
I don't know. But you know what, Jason? That's the beauty of YouTube, right? You have said for months now that you don't feel like LG gets the coverage that it deserves, and now you have the G8X, and there's all this debate on whether or not it's a foldable or not. So you have the platform that you have built to highlight the features of that particular phone, even if it doesn't get that much coverage from everybody else, Jason. You got 177,000 people that listen to you, so you have the platform to put that phone on the stage and show people what it can do. So there you go.
If you go to the Z Flip, sorry, Americans, Z Flip, section of the Samsung website. If you type in the word foldable, like search for it, it
Mhm.
only has it in one line.
Okay.
See the future with every fold. It's the all-new foldable form factor, small, durable, unlike anything you've held before. So they only use the word foldable once on their website.
Yeah.
But they use the word fold, throughout. And so
I mean, we'd really have to go back and see like what they wrote in press releases and
Mhm.
and all the different ways that they seeded the terminology. Um,
I'm actually
but
trying to find the press release right now.
but
The
yeah, at the end of the day, it's just semantics.
the ironic thing is that the Galaxy Fold, the OG Galaxy Fold, wasn't even the first foldable to the market. That would have been the Flex Pi Royale.
Yeah. Well, the Galaxy Fold was the first thing that wasn't garbage.
Correct, but I'm just
I mean,
saying.
and it kind of was garbage too when it first came out, but it's the first folding phone that came out and wasn't a piece of trash. That
Correct.
FlexPi thing isn't even worth remembering.
I'm not arguing with that. I'm just saying that the Fold wasn't the first folding phone on the market. And as Craftman Greg accurately states in the chat, the Z Flip and the GAX both flip open. That is correct, but only one of them has an actual folding display.
Yeah.
And that's what I think we're getting our confusion here.
Now,
Well-
it's interesting. If you actually look at the Samsung press release website, they use the word foldable 14 times throughout the press release, but only once on the official website for consumers. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I only ask this stuff and notice this stuff in part because I worked in marketing for a long time.
Yeah.
And so I kind of understand how, companies want to make differentiations between their product and the competition,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so they want to establish a terminology that will become synonymous with their device.
And it's kind of like going back to the whole glass thing, marketing, Jason, right?
Yeah.
At no time throughout this press release do they say foldable glass. They call it bendable ultra thin glass. So that's how you get around it.
Yeah.
UTG, ultra thin glass. They don't say glass alone. They say ultra thin glass. So
I don't know why y'all keep bringing up this iPhone square camera module stuff in the chat. I never said the iPhone was the first phone with a square camera module. I just said that it's the first to take it mainstream, and now everybody else is following suit. I said multiple times now that Huawei is the first OEM that had the square camera module. I never said iPhone was first, so I don't know why y'all keep bringing this up, but whatever, I digress.
I think one of the things that as I understood what you were saying is that, okay, a lot of times companies will follow Apple's lead in doing stuff. And well, in this case, maybe they followed Huawei's lead, but still in 2020, after Apple releases, and they have the number of phones they sell, et cetera, and the cachet that they have with people in certain sectors, we're seeing a lot more of those square camera modules.
Mm-hmm.
Is it chicken and egg? I don't know. But that's been the conventional wisdom, is that other companies follow Apple. So whether or not you feel that's true, that's totally your thing. That's like your bag, man. It's cool with me, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I was, like I said, I had posted it because I wanted to see if people, what kind of differentiation or whatever would they make between a device like this and the more expensive devices, and what would be the reasoning behind it. And at the end of the day, it was something totally different. But I'm sure if I went to a different group of people with a different sensibility and a different knowledge base and all that kind of stuff, the conversation would be different. I was curious to see if people would talk about the price, because everybody says at one point or another, everybody says, oh, we need more affordable devices. And this is a flagship level phone. I mean, the 865 is not the current model, right? The 865 doesn't come out until the S phones.
Mm-hmm.
So the 855 is still the current Qualcomm chip. It's right up to date. It's got 6 gigs of RAM. It's got 4,000 milliamp hour battery. It's got all that stuff, plus a case that has another screen on it. and it's $699 all day. And I don't know why people aren't excited about that. Because to me, that's like exactly what we
You
need.
know why. You already know why. You even said it yourself in the podcast. America has this whole exceptionalism thing. I don't even know what the hell that means. I'm just like measuring off the context. But you know, here in the U.S., nobody gives a monkey's nipple about LG. It's been like that for like the last 5-6 years. I don't know if it will ever change, but that's just the way it is right now here in the U.S. No one cares about LG.
You're not wrong. However, LG is still the 4th largest or most selling smartphone maker, cell phone maker in the world, behind Apple and Samsung and OnePlus. So LG sells a lot of phones. They haven't been selling a lot of their flagship phones in the United States in recent years. But that's the exceptionalism problem.
I'll say that
that's where a lot of Americans will think like, well, if it's not selling in the US, then it's not selling anywhere.
I'll say this. If you don't like the prices of the current flagships, so Galaxy S20, S20 Plus, S20 Ultra, 2020 is a great year to buy a 2019 flagship phone.
No, it's
because seriously, like, what was the top device 6 months ago for Samsung and for Androids? The Note 10 Plus. Right. Is there anything wrong with the Note 10 Plus today? No. And I would I would love to put my Note 10 Plus up against the 20 Ultra in a head-to-head, pick up the phone, launch the camera, take a photo, and I would dare anybody to say if they could tell the difference between the photos. I guarantee you would not be able to tell the difference.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at so I've been watching videos about this phone. This phone got the kind of coverage that LG flagships usually get from big YouTubers, which is, kind of lukewarm, semi-praise, dismissive at the end of the day, and not really considering it anything. Like the fact that Michael Fisher, who I love, was like, well, the design is a little boring, and I'm like, in what way is it not exactly the same as everything else? Like, what slab phone is not boring if this is boring?
Wait. He did call the Ultra boring too, so.
I know. So anyway, I mean, there's a different sort of set of rules and, discussions that we could have about this.
You know what? You're right, but part of that is on LG. They don't make no effort here in the States. I don't know why, but they don't make effort to market their phones here.
I mean, I don't know why either, but I would hazard to guess that some of it has to do with just economics. Like, if they aren't guaranteed a certain return on their investment of advertising, then why spend the money?
Talking with the LG rep that takes care of Western Canada up here, I know him personally. He told me that the reason LG has pulled back on a lot of their marketing within Canada anyway has been they want to do it specifically within the stores. So they know people are going in looking for Samsungs or looking for iPhones, but then they get like a sticker shock while they're there. Yeah. What do you mean it's X amount of dollars, whatever? Okay, well, what do you have that's comparable? Well, we have this LG. Here it is. Check it out. And then they end up picking up the LG. Because it comes at a very good price, and they seem to be doing very well in that kind of aspect. Yeah. People that are kind of like sticker shock, right? So
yeah, no, that's absolutely right. And I mean, one thing that people knock LG because the price they don't hold their price as well as other phones. I mean, yeah, okay, but that to me that's not really an indication of LG being an inferior phone, as much as, well, just LG is not as popular, and so therefore it doesn't hold its value as well.
Yeah, you need. I can't remember the last time I saw an LG commercial like on television.
Yeah, it's been like forever.
Like the last commercial I remember, I think Wasn't the one with the guy that had like extra fingers or something like that?
I don't even know what you're
Was
talking
that
about.
weird one? Remember the guy? You guys remember those weird commercials from a few years back?
Well, we had one for the V40.
Yeah.
That with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, where he's running around New York City and like making all kinds of music with all kinds of people, and the idea is that this is the phone where you could like connect all the media and blah 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 and all that kind of stuff. Which I was glad that they were sort of highlighting those features of the phone, but it's one of those things that you have to continue to seed. And so if you just buy one big ticket marketing run with commercials, then you're not marketing the phone really. So, I mean, I think you're right. That especially with the G series, people come in, they see the prices of the flagship Apple and Samsung phones, and they're like,
yeah.
And then LG, like one of the reasons why people would make the choice to go to an LG is like holding an LG phone versus holding a Samsung phone. I mean, iPhone's slightly different, so it's a different, I wouldn't be comparing them one to one necessarily, but they feel virtually the same in terms of like that feeling you get when you hold it and it's like, oh, it's solid. It feels like a quality made device. There's not really any difference. So
I mean, they feel like normal phones.
Yeah. And so if people make a lot of decisions that way, and if they don't feel like they're losing anything by saving that amount of money, then why not? Because at the end of the day, like we've discussed, phones are becoming a commodity.
And the one thing that we haven't really talked about is the flaw factor. I mean, you kind of hit on it just a minute ago, Jason. Like, how does the phone make you feel? And especially here in the U.S., if you don't have an Apple or a Samsung, you're kind of out. You're on the bench pretty much. I mean, let's be true. Let's be honest.
If you're somebody that cares about that,
right? But I mean, that's a big thing here in the U.S., especially with people in their phones. That's a big part of it. So
I mean,
it's pretty sad when people will put the money down on a new device, but they'll skip their rent.
Yeah. I mean, I can't make excuses for some people's financial decisions. However, I get accused of doing just that all the time now.
All right. We've almost been an hour into the podcast, and I need to pivot this bad because I want to talk about this Instagram stuff, and I want to get you guys' thoughts on this.
Okay.
So, you guys know that for a year, for whatever reason, there has not been a native dedicated Instagram app on iPad. Nobody knew why. Now you can put Instagram on your iPad, but it's only the iPhone app. So you got this big old iPad and this little old miniature Instagram app that's the size of the app on iPhone.
You can make it bigger you can make it bigger, but it's still just the app.
Hold on to being that annoying person at the school play.
Oh Lord,
takes photos with their iPad. Stupid parents.
So Instagram CEO was asked about this past weekend, I guess, by somebody on Twitter, and his response, oh my Lord.
There aren't the resources or some BS.
So this dude said that Instagram, a company that made $20 billion last year, doesn't have the resources to develop for iOS and iPad OS, apparently. And he feels like the iPad isn't something that they should focus on. He said it hasn't bubbled up to be the next big thing yet. What? Are you serious right now?
I don't know what to say about that. I mean, the iPad, when it comes to tablets, there's nobody else.
Exactly. Nobody. And like I said in my video the other night, Apple just had their Q1 earnings call where the iPad attributed $6 billion of that revenue was attributed to iPad sales. So how can you come out of your mouth that the iPad isn't important enough to like allocate resources for when, like Jason said, it is single-handedly dominating the tablet market? And and what do you mean you don't have the resources? Your Instagram, you're owned by Facebook. How do you not have the resources to build an iPad app? And the other thing, the more egregious thing about this entire situation is that iPad OS is not that much different from iOS. And up until last year, iPhones and iPads were both running on iOS. So how different would it be to code an Instagram app for iPad when you're using the same base foundation for the code? It's all iOS. Like, what are you talking about? I don't get it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know, Zach. What do you think?
Okay, so I'm gonna flip this around as Viper. Why do you want an Instagram app for iPad? Is so you can do editing on there? Is that what you mean?
No, I
That-
just think it'll be a better like viewing user experience to have that option on iPad.
Okay. Because I thought I read a while back that the reason they don't is because they want people to take photos with their with their built-in camera app. But we know the majority of people that are doing good things on Instagram, they're taking photos with, their DSLR or whatever, and then they're editing and then they're moving it over and then posting it, right? So it's kind of a lame excuse, really.
Here's the way that I feel about it. I mean, I think there's a reason why they aren't making an iPad app. I think it's probably the same reason why they don't let you post on the web. You have to post from your phone, right?
You can post from the web if you know where to go, kind of thing. There's a way in the anyway.
But in the app, I mean, there's a plus button, and you hit
Yeah.
that plus button. It's right there in the bottom center of the thing.
Yeah.
So I think that they want to have the Instagram app be kind of this thing that is mobile in nature.
Mhm.
Like, as in, you're carrying your phone with you, it's got the camera with you, and so you're taking pictures of you doing things.
Yeah.
I think that's how they want to differentiate themselves. But to say that the iPad is not, I mean, Franklin sort of parroted it back. I mean, $6 billion is not anything to sneeze at. Most companies would love to have $6 billion to fool around with.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's all relative. You can compare it to whatever you want and make a point, but it's
some of the best photos on Instagram aren't even taken with the Instagram app. They're taken with, I'll give a perfect example, Peter McKinnon's bucket shot.
Right.
Boom. Right. Taken with his C, whatever it was, the Canon C, whatever it is, and then edited to death. Still looks good. Who the hell is this guy? And just kidding. Hi, Greg.
Hello. This is one of those guys who's like, he's flexing.
Yeah. So and then he moves it over to the Instagram app via AirDrop or whatever, and then posts it, right? I mean, I've even done that here and there, but from a convenience factor, it's easier for me just to take the native photo, edit it within the phone with whatever app I have. But yeah, having something like, for example, I have what's the app I have on an iPad? Darkroom. Is that what it's called? Darkroom? Yeah. Is it Lightroom or Darkroom? Anyway,
Darkroom.
I got one of those rooms on there. And it'd be kind of cool if I could take photos from my iPhone onto there, edit, because it's a bigger screen. It's a more enjoyable experience, as Viper says. And Viper's completely correct about that. I mean, I do all my this is a glorified thumbnail maker for me right now. And then I post it, right? So it just seems like a really weird excuse.
Greg, what do you got to say about this, Greg?
I mean, I was here for the foldable talk, but they should definitely make a Instagram iPad app, because it would just be such a great experience, like viewing Instagram like on that tablet. Like I don't get it. And like you said, like the code base is kind of shared with iOS. They can use the Catalyst features to just port it over to Mac as well. So they have a dual opportunity to capture like a bunch of other users, and it just keeps more people on Instagram longer. Isn't that what they want? To have as many eyeballs as possible. So yeah, I feel like it's a win-win for them.
That's the thing for me, is like, I don't use Instagram as often because it's not as feature capable as other apps are. I mean, the thing that I don't like about Instagram, like, you can't poke on a photo and make it bigger. Like, sometimes people take these really great looking photos that are showing up on the phone, and
I know what happened here. Jason got busted looking at a pretty girl, and he double tapped it, and then it ends up being a like, and he's like, "Oh,
no." Sometimes the photos are good enough that you want to really study them, but you've got them in this tiny box on a tiny screen.
And the other thing that makes this even more egregious is there is a Facebook app for iPad. So how do you have a Facebook app for iPad, but you can't make an Instagram app for iPad? Again, it makes no sense.
Well, I think he was talking out his ass is what was really happening.
Mhm.
I bet you they just don't want to reveal anything. Kind of like how Facebook dark mode is like a super secret thing, but at the same time, like who uses Facebook still?
Yeah. It's not me looking at girls. Okay, just settle down.
If you're not watching, if you're not looking at pretty things on, I just said pretty things and say on Instagram, you're not doing it right.
No doubt. But since we have him here and he's gonna flex like all hell, show us the Z Flip. I know you got it in your hands. Where's it at?
Oh,
Is that a green screen that he's doing behind himself there?
that is a green screen.
Yeah, he's Brandon the Gadget Cast.
Oh,
Right
there he is. There it
I
is.
didn't mean to. It was just
There it is. There
Look,
it is.
this is the true.
Oh, hold on. Can you do it with one hand though?
You can do it with one hand, but
That's
after
you do it with one
all
hand?
these durability tests, I dare not ever do it again. I did it in my video.
Oh, really?
I will not do that again.
What a piece of crap. Okay, do it. No, seriously, do it with one hand. Can you do it with one hand?
I'm not gonna.
Wow. If you have to
There's
baby
your
your
answer.
device,
There's your answer.
$1,400 for the pleasure of not being able to handle.
And it's cumbersome to do with one hand. I've seen people like do it like really quickly. I'm not gonna do that.
Wait, Greg, you're about to say something. Were you about to say that that's the one true foldable? Wasn't that about to come out your mouth?
Yeah, I was just kidding. I think either like if you have like the dual screen like the LG. I mean, Microsoft is making a device that's going to be considered a foldable, right? And that's the same concept: two screens, and there's a hinge in the middle. Why not like
hold it up again?
Well, I
Like,
think
open-
one of the words that was floated around today was that these kinds of devices are hingeables.
No. So Greg, open it all the way.
I mean,
So it's like open it all the way. Hold it up. Okay, now just tilt it a little bit this way, like kind of towards you.
the crease.
Yeah, because I saw the crease, right? Like
Yeah.
So you've had it in your hands for 4 or 5 days now.
Right. Yeah.
Would you say that the crease is something that you notice that you wish wasn't there? Is it a decent trade-off, even though the phone is as expensive as it is?
I mean, I wish it wasn't there, obviously. But I will say I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it would be way more noticeable than it is.
Can
If you're
you feel it?
looking directly head on, you do not notice it. If you do, angle it, hold it sideways, get the light, hitting it a certain way, yeah, you notice it right there.
Wow, it's the new blue screen.
Yeah, the weird thing is you can feel it. That's the weirdest sensation. of it all.
That would drive me nuts.
You can feel it as you scroll through the middle. It's like a slight little bump. And I've had this weird sensation whenever I go back to my iPhone, I'll like scroll in the middle and I'll feel like a phantom bump. I can't explain it. It's something like it rewired my brain in a way. It's kind of awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, the crease isn't that noticeable. This is a more polished experience than I thought it would be. And I was really going into this like very skeptically. Like I was like, I was expecting this to not be durable, which I guess we found out now that it really isn't, despite the use of the marketing term glass. How much you want to buy into that, I don't know. But yeah, it's an interesting experience. If you can ever get your hands on one.
Does it feel like glass? Like if you were to compare it, like your thumb against that and your thumb against your iPhone?
Let's see. It's kind of like, no, it's not. It's like more like slippy.
Yeah.
It's like in between like plastic and glass, which it is, right?
It's the only reason I'm
layer on top of it.
It's things like this why I'm on the fence about getting one, even reviewing one, because I just want to wait for Gen 2. Kind of like,
well, theoretically, the Z Flip would be Gen 2.
Yeah, this is Gen 2.
Yeah, I mean, they're applying the things that they learned from the Fold debacle last year. So,
although
it's
not to
more
be
mature
confused though,
device.
not to be confused, there is an actual Galaxy Fold 2 coming later this year. Actually,
yeah,
probably in the summertime they're saying now, which is kind of crazy to me. But hey,
yeah, which will probably be like $2,000 because.
So Greg, are you clipping your fingernails more often now?
absolutely. I said it before, like I almost like touched this thing with my fingernail. I was like, oh no. I was like checking for like scratches, indentations. I'm babying this.
I feel like, whenever I find an imperfection in something, like I kind of worry over it with my fingers.
Yes.
So I worry that I would sort of just be futzing with the crease all the time and then ultimately like damage the phone.
Right. No, yeah, I'm the same way. So Yeah, I'm always like feeling like the middle. I'm like, this feels weird, but I probably shouldn't be like touching it as much as I am.
Yeah.
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 The Escobar fold is coming. Yes. I mean, there's so many things wrong with the Escobar fold,
Oh Lord.
but we don't
I
need
don't-
to go there.
So are you keeping it, Greg? Like how long have you had? You've had it for 3 or 4 days now?
I got it on Friday, so
Yeah.
that was Valentine's Day.
Uh-huh.
My fiance loved that.
Wait. You're
well, I
engaged?
could have
You're
gotten you a
engaged?
really nice present, but
Yes, I
spent
am engaged.
I did not know you were engaged. Congratulations.
He is
Congrats.
engaged.
Yeah.
But are you gonna keep it?
Yeah, I think so.
Interesting.
Why not?
Come on now, you know Greg doesn't return anything. He kept
Unless-
the $1,000 XDR display stand. Come on.
That
Now.
is true.
I
Unless-
can't believe what the stand.
I
Unless-
can't believe you got the stand. Is that in hopes that you're going to get the XDR display one of these days?
I think the stand is perfect on its own. Jason.
You know the ultimate flex.
It is a work of art.
The ultimate flex would be take the stand and put the foldable on there.
Yeah, it's
And
Don
then-
Ives' last true great design. I think
Okay.
he was responsible for it.
Oh wow.
Okay. Well, so that's why we're able to buy it as a separate thing.
Yeah, that was Johnny's parting gift to to us all.
Man. I think
a straight face.
I think
Oh, wow.
maybe Johnny wanted us to sit on it and spin,
Oh,
perhaps.
Remember when they sold that book? You know, the
Uh-huh.
Apple design book, like
Oh, yeah.
$300.
Mm-hmm.
$300.
Before when he left. So
Now in terms of performance on that device,
yes,
do you miss? Because I know it has that small little display on the outside, right?
oh yeah, that's laughably bad.
Yeah,
So,
so
here's my favorite thing about this: the time, battery, date. I don't know if everyone can see that.
Mhm.
Hold on. Come on.
So it's a
Okay,
touch screen.
time, battery, date, all that. That's fine. That's great.
Yeah.
You can actually like slide it over and like interact with this thing.
Really?
Why?
You know-
Why
you
would
know
they-
who
why
had-
would
Why would
they
you
make
do
it
that?
You know who had a small little window at the top of their phone that you could slide over and get to different functions first? LG V10.
Oh boy. Here
There
we
was
go.
actually a separate display. That was one of the selling points. This functionality is still there in the LG phones. It's just made a little like thing on the side that you can pop
I
out.
said it once, and I will say it again. I am surprised LG has not hired you yet.
I'm bucking for the dollars.
They
Come
need
on,
to.
LG.
They need to.
Come on, LG.
They need to.
No, I mean, I'd love to talk with them and have a relationship with them as anybody would any major company like that.
Well, based on how things at CES went for you, I wouldn't count on that. They just seem completely lost there.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
I know.
Yeah.
I do have Simply Beth was nice enough to sort of go through LinkedIn and find some marketing executives from LG and send me links to them. So I could cold email some people through LinkedIn.
We have the LG headquarters right here in New Jersey. I can go personally visit them for you if you want.
Stand
Wait,
outside.
Wait, that's
Like
true. Are
and
you-
say anything with a sign that just says "Give Jason phones."
Wait. They actually have a headquarters in Jersey for real?
Yeah, LG and Samsung, both in New Jersey. There's a huge
Wow.
Korean population in Fort Lee, and Samsung and LG both operate out of there.
Oh wow. Okay.
They just built a giant, really nice like park, like complex. It's really big.
Hmm.
Now, in terms of functionality for the flip, there does it? You got the black one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Does it feel as snappy as past Samsung devices you've had?
I mean, the internals in this are basically like an S10, so
Yeah.
same exact experience. Everything's fast. I think there's like 8 gigabytes of RAM in here, so like no problems with performance.
Now,
How are,
Greg.
how are you finding the camera? About the same?
I'd say like again, I think it's like the S10e camera because it has the wide angle and ultra wide. It's okay. It doesn't hold up against like the 11. I don't know how it would do against the S20. The live focus and stuff on it, it's not as good. I don't know if that's like a software issue in particular, but I found it was worse than like the S10e, which is strange. And then like I don't like Samsung's night mode. It's so slow.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah.
Hey, Greg.
Yes.
Does this mean that you are not going to be getting an S20 device?
No, I already spent $13.80 on this. If Samsung wants to send me one, I'll review it.
Hey, you know what you could do? You could get 2 of these for
true.
what you pay,
Yeah.
and probably have some money left over.
Samsung got their money out of me. once they announced the Flip, I was like, well, that's the more unproven device. Like S20 Ultra, I mean, it's like another Samsung phone. So I've been curious about trying like a foldable phone ever since they announced them. I wanted to try for myself. Again, I was pretty skeptical on the whole concept of foldable phones in general. I still don't think this is like the compelling form factor. I think if it is going to work, it's going to be more of something like a Galaxy Fold, because even though this is cool and like I love like just putting this in like your pocket's like the best experience. It's like nothing's there. But when you do unfold it, it's like, okay, it's a phone. You know, like you're paying like a huge premium to get
tall phone.
You're getting a phone. Now, if you could fold it out into a bigger tablet, there's something you never had before. You have a pocketable tablet. But I would say that I feel like Apple's the only one that could really make that work, because Android tablet apps kind of suck. So if you could take an iPhone, fold it out into an iPad, actually get real iPad apps, that sounds compelling.
Yeah.
Android,
So Luke has been in the chat. He's been telling me to get the Z Flip, and you know I'm kind of in the same place as Greg. Is like I could get the Z Flip, or I could get one of the flagship Samsung devices, but I can't get both.
Yeah,
and I don't even know if I really want to get any of the flagship phones from Samsung. But I have to also think about, okay, so that's me, and since I do have an audience, as Viper pointed out, like since people do watch me and do listen to my opinion about stuff, do I have some kind of responsibility to cover those phones, even though they're not for me? I don't know. I don't know. It's a question that I'm curious about, but I would love to try the Z Flip. I've yet to see one in the wild.
Are there any in stock by you?
No.
Yeah. So I would say they might be like next to impossible to get now. Again, I live in New Jersey. I live in a pretty populated area. We have like tons of Best Buys around me, which is like the only store that was carrying it besides like Samsung and the carriers. Only one Best Buy near me had them when I did the order at 12 Eastern time, whatever the time the orders went up. And only one Best Buy had them in stock, and they only had one purple and one black in stock. That's it.
Wow.
And I was lucky enough to get the black.
Yeah, I was like that purple color.
There's no stock allocated to Canada yet. In fact, if you go to Samsung Canada, if you go to Samsung Canada's website, which is samsung.com/ca, there's no actual release date yet. It says check with your carriers, so you can't even pre-order or even get anything additional than that. So, and I've actually asked a couple of my friends that work at the Bell and Rogers. They don't have any information, so there's not even stock even allocated for Canada.
I saw a lot of comments on Twitter basically going, wow, look how successful the Z Flip is. Samsung like really did the right thing there. And it's like, yeah, they had like 20 of these phones to sell. That's why they're sold out. Don't think this is like everyone wants one.
It seems like there was more stock allocated for South Korea.
Yeah.
Based on what I saw on some global
which I think
numbers.
is usually the case with like new stuff. Yeah. So like not just anything new, but new kinds of devices. They seem to stay closer to home.
So this also brings up something else interesting. Since there aren't that many Z Flips out there at the initial launch, and we know what's happening in the rest of the world, how will that affect supplies of the Z Flip in the future going forward? Because all these Chinese manufacturers are being hit hard by the beer epidemic. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, we asked Renee Ritchie last week if he thought we were going to see an iPhone in March, like the SE2 or 9 or whatever they're going to call it, and he also mentioned that the coronavirus stuff could really impact whether or not Apple decides to put a device out this spring ahead of the new iPhones.
Well, I think all reports are pointing toward there definitely being an iPhone 9, so that's not going to be affected. But the iPhone 12 is another matter entirely. And Jason, you can't say the actual term, otherwise you'll get demonetized.
Yes, it's too late now.
What did I say?
If you actually say the name of the thing, they'll like bury you.
Yeah. I did a video today where I was talking about it. I just kept going, the issue in China.
Well, that's weird. I mean, because YouTube being a communication platform, you wouldn't want to communicate about something that's a worldwide possibility of pandemic.
Apparently their reasons is that they want to make sure that there's proper information out there. So
Yeah.
they're heavy filtering, make sure nobody's coming out with like conspiracy type information and everything. So
Yeah, well, that's YouTube.
yeah.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they say they're a free platform where you can say whatever you want unless they don't want you to say it.
Not anymore. Not even close.
it'll get fun this fall when you guys are going into the election.
Oh, man.
Well, it won't matter for me because I won't be talking about that crap. I might be talking about it on other places, but I try not to talk about politics whatsoever in my tech related stuff. Sometimes
DeFranco 2020, go.
Yeah.
Hey, Greg, did you get your hands on a Galaxy Fold at some point, or did you have-
No, I wanted to. I did pre-order one when like the launches went up, and then that whole thing happened where they broke, and then Samsung canceled orders, and
Gotcha.
I never got my hands on one, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah, I still have never touched one of these foldable screen phones.
Yeah, I really wanted the fold form factor, but like I just had to get my hands on one from like I just wanted to know. I had to know like what it was like to like bend these screens, because I don't know if this technology will like work out. I don't know if this is going to be the thing. I'm still skeptical, but like as someone who's into tech, like that's cool. It might not be practical, but it like the fact that you can bend a display, it's kind of mind blowing to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think eventually, and I've said this a bunch of times, but I think eventually, the foldable screen it's the gateway to a different form factor, a paradigm shift in what smartphones feel and look like. And so we're not going to have like sort of these retrofitted designs. It's going to be something totally different.
Yeah.
We're years away from that.
Yeah, I could see that. Or they might just skip it entirely and go to smart glasses might be like a huge thing. And it's like, what do we need that for?
Well, we saw the contact lenses with AR, and man, I want those.
Mojo Vision. Yep.
Can't, Jason. You just got the red rims. You got to live that out at least for a year. Okay.
They're not prescription, so I can still wear the glasses.
Don't
and the
tell
contact.
people that.
No, my glasses are heavily prescription.
Okay.
But-
Hey,
but,
going back to like what you can or can't say on this platform. John Prosser put out a tweet about almost 45 minutes ago. The jig is up, boys. YouTube figured out what quote unquote beer flu means, and it's he's got a screenshot of his latest video, and he's got the yellow $sign demonetized.
Oh boy,
or not monetized and all.
yeah.
I feel like just mentioning beer could also
We
get
have
them
a- we
demonetized though.
Have a super chat. Sneed Bubble Tech. Thank you very much. I've been enjoying the LG. So no, the super chats have been thin the past few weeks, but I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I owe you a quack.
Yes, science.
Look how far he has to reach to get.
No, I outgrew.
Oh my goodness.
I outgrew the desk that I was using, basically. So I went back to my bigger desk, and now, like ergonomically, it's not working out very well. So I have to figure out something. And I got this Anthro desk, right? And it wobbles. Look at my mic moving. It wobbles now. I don't know if something came loose. Like it's not the legs that are wobbling either, or not.
Did you get the dual motor?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, but it's like the legs themselves are somehow loose. Oh, we got another super chat. El Jefe reviews in the house. Super chat for Zach being back. There we go.
Yes, science.
All right. Super chat time.
All right.
You know
Hey,
what else? You know what other time it is?
What?
It's time to start wrapping up the podcast portion of the show.
Yeah.
It is. But before we do that, Jason, I'm curious. What is your interest level on the Galaxy Bud Plus?
0.
Yeah.
Mm.
0. Couldn't care less.
Okay.
Or I could.
That means you do care a little.
I could care less. I couldn't care less. I don't care at all. How's that?
There we go.
Yeah. No interest whatsoever.
Well, you know who does care? Jeff cares.
I know.
but that's his thing.
Well, no, the thing is, like, I'm doing a lot more headphone reviews, so I might like to try them out to do a review and a comparison with the AirPods Pro or whatever, comparison with something like the Anchor Soundcore Liberty Air 2s or something like that. Pro something or other. Yeah, so there's that would be my only interest. Like, I would not be buying them for me to use ever. I don't know where where the Galaxy Buds I got last year are. They're somewhere in a drawer, but I don't know where.
I watched Jeff's video on them. I believe he said they sounded better than the AirPods Pro.
Yeah, he did. He
video.
said that. He said that.
Now I gotta go. now I gotta go. Yeah, Jeff, you're right. The Liberty 2s and the Liberty 2 Pros are really those Liberty 2 Pros are shockingly good. So if you're looking for, and they're $150. So $150. Yes, I did get those, Luke. I'm looking into it. And yeah, so I'm gonna do a review of those. I also got some of the Anchor, I forget what they call it, like the over-the-ear headphones, wireless. The non-noise canceling ones have 60 hours of battery life.
That's crazy.
Like, I literally took them off. I was using them with my iPad when I was going to sleep.
Were they heavy?
No, they're super light. They're
Really?
super light. Yeah.
6-hour battery life, eh?
Yeah, and they cost like $32.
What?
And they sound really good. They're high-res certified. Which is nuts. So for a $30 headphone, I mean, absolutely crazy.
And they're Bluetooth?
Yep.
Wow. 6 months ago, you didn't talk highly at all about Bluetooth headphones, and now look at you, converted.
Well, I mean, I'm willing to say when a product is meeting the price point, is meeting a price point that's unexpected and definitely different than what everybody else is still pricing things as a premium for Bluetooth, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, Bluetooth is still a premium when they've already made the wired headphone a useless commodity for most people. So, I mean, that's how you make money as a company, isn't it?
Yeah.
But at any rate, we're going to wind down the podcast portion here and go over to the much more free and flowing Twitch side of things for the after party. Greg, you're welcome to join us at the after party.
Ooh.
And so there's 118 people in here right now, and I'm going to drop a link to the thingy, to the Twitch right here.
You should drop. Okay, I was going to say
Where you go.
I was going to say don't drop the StreamYard link.
No. This is where the after party is on Twitch.
Gotcha.
Everybody wants to go to the after party because the after party is where all the cool stuff happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna wind it down for those of you who've been listening in the audio realm. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you'll come back again. I hope you hit subscribe and come back and check out our podcast. Greg has a podcast called Gadget Cast that he hosts with our friend Travis MCP. So
enemy, more like enemy.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, anyway, I think you should go check it out. So
Appreciate that.
Gadget Cast, Painfully Honest Tech Podcast. And yeah, once again, we do have a sponsor. It would really help out if you would check out the sponsor and it's good for you. It's like fruit, tastes good, and it's good for you. Audible, audibletrial.com/painfully honest tech. Free audiobook, 2 free Audible originals. I mean, I've been saying it ever since these foldable phones came out. I was like, yeah, get William Gibson Neuromancer. Just get that. Get it right now. Go get it because it is all of this stuff, but he wrote the book in 1982.
Nice.
So, yeah, he's responsible for a lot of the terminology. Yeah, Jeff uses Audible daily. He has a long commute. So he's a big time Audible guy.
45-minute commute. I think that's what his commute is.
Yeah.
That's insane. Like
I
I'll
mean-
never complain about my commute again. My commute is bedroom down here, and then avoiding Lego.
Yeah.
it could be dangerous if it's on the stairs. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know. I'm past the Lego years, but I'm familiar.
Mhm.
Anyway, for those of you on the audio side of things, we're going to be leaving you now. Thanks so much for being here and checking us out. If you want to be a part of this ever so exciting live show, then you can come every Tuesday night. It's 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, and hang with us.
Oh my goodness.
Exactly. So once again, this has been the Painfully Honest Tech Podcast. We got our friend Viper over here in the co-host seat. We've got our buddy Zach back from self-exile or something.
Something like
And and then we've got Greg from Greg's Gadgets. Check out Greg's channel. Check out Zach Talks Tech. Check out Viper, the man about tech. You know, and do our thing with all these guys because I think they're pretty good. So anyway, thanks once again. My name is Jason, sometimes known as the JDL. This is Painfully Honest Tech, the podcast. Podcast so honest it hurts. Until the next time, we're out. All right. So we're going to end the broadcast and we're going straight over to Twitch. And you guys are going to come, right? Oh, we're losing them already. So I'll send everybody. I'll send everybody the link. I'm ending the broadcast. Goodbye, people here. Bye.